So here we go. The NFL, there's some protocols set up. They're getting closer and closer to reporting. And Michael Vick is now joining me from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. 13 years in the NFL, a 4-time Pro Bowler. So I got to address the New York Jets situation. So Jamal Adams is a great player. Jamal Adams comes out yesterday and says that the head coach, Adam Gase, is not the coach to take us to the promised land. This is in the paper. He says he doesn't have relationships with players. If we're playing lousy, he doesn't address us at half. He sends other coaches to do it. I don't think I've ever seen a player make it this personal in my life with a coach. Now, Gase and Jamal Adams, they're coming back this year. I doubt the Jets trade him. He's too talented. Your first reaction to that, what is that going to do to a locker room?
First of all, that's very disturbing to hear. And when you have a player talking like that, he's talking like that for a reason. He's not just saying that just to be saying that. And you're talking about the leader of the football team, not the quarterback, the coach. He the ones that has to guide all of these young men to be better men and better football players. And when you got your star players saying that, that's going to reverberate around the locker room. It's going to be whispers. Everybody's going to take notice and start, paying close attention to what Adam Gase is doing. And, when things like this happen, comments like this are made, you lose the locker room. And I don't know if you can bounce back from this. It's going to be tough because unless everybody gets it together and figure out a way to make this work, it's going to be a tough season for the New York Jets. And I hate that this had to happen, at this time of the year, right before the start of training camp.
It's interesting because I'm not going to defend Adam Gase, but I'll throw this out there. Is it possible that Adam Gase is more of an offensive coach and he doesn't talk with his defensive players? Now, take me back to your career. Did Andy Reid talk? Did he have relationships with defensive players?
Yeah, see, Coach Reid knew a lot about the defensive side of the ball, so he was able to help his defensive coaches. And I seen it because I was right there watching firsthand. I've been in a meeting with Andy and the defensive coach will walk in and they'll talk defense. Or, he spent time with everyone. So to not have, that defensive touch or the knowledge of what the defense has to be doing, meaning you cater to the offensive side of the ball, and it shows that that's all you care about. But you have to be able to lead those guys on defense as well. And I seen him communicate with everyone, and he was just as close with defensive players as he was with offensive players, and I thought that was special.
Do you, Michael, go back to high school, then you had at college, Frank Beamer, then you go to the NFL. Did you have to like your coach?
You have to like your coach. You don't have to necessarily agree on everything, but you all have to have a common respect, a mutual respect for one another in order to move forward and win, especially when you're a star caliber player. When you're in that position, communication has to be constant and consistent. And when it's not, these type of things are going to happen. You're going to have guys, talking and saying things that he probably shouldn't say within the media. But as a leader of the team, guy like Jamal Adams got to speak out on things like this because it just needs to be said when it's brought about like this.
Did you ever have a team where what was the best locker room you were ever at, where there was real unity and everybody was really on the same page? And I understand. I mean, you got 50-year millionaires, you got veteran guys, you got young guys, you got stars, you got guys who are just like gunners on special teams. I understand that everybody thinks they're better than they are. They want to get paid. But what was the best locker room you were ever at?
Man, I would have to say I had some great times in Atlanta. I can't take credit away from what we built and the chemistry we had within the locker room, the camaraderie. Certainly when I got to Philadelphia, it was a different dynamic because it was the old and the new. It was Deshaun and LeSean and Jeremy, the next generation, along with older guys like myself and Brian Westbrook and Donovan. And we just had that mesh. We had that togetherness because we could all relate on so many levels. We knew about what the younger guys were going through, and we was able to teach them. And then we was also able to learn from them as well. So the locker room in Philadelphia was so diverse, man. All the defensive players got along with the offensive players. And, our battles and our struggles on the field led to our togetherness off the field. And, those guys, were dynamic in their own right. And then, the Jets locker room was amazing. And then I would say close to that was the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. It was no egos, all across the board. And guys came to work every day, and they believed in it, and they followed their leader in Ben Roethlisberger, and that's what made it a great experience.
It's interesting. I was thinking about the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. So the reason I think that Dak Prescott and Jason Garrett worked is they both needed each other. Dak breaks into the league, and he needs to understand that he needs mentorship, and Jason Garrett had quarterback in the league, so he needs him. And then right. Jason Garrett needed Dak because they were 4-12 a year before, and Tony Romo got hurt again in the preseason. So Jason Garrett, you can't win in this league if you don't have a starting quarterback, so he needed stability, and Dak provided that in 1 game. So it worked because they needed each other, and I contend they're both good for each other. But then here's Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's already got a Super Bowl. He got a 5-year, $30 million deal. He doesn't need Dak for money. He doesn't need him for security. He doesn't need him for his legacy. He doesn't need him for a Super Bowl, and he's worked with Favre and Rodgers. I wonder, because there's a story out today from somebody inside the Cowboy locker room that Dak was really not happy with Jason Garrett being let go. And again, I want to ask you on personal experiences. Do you think it's possible Dak's thinking, hey, Garrett had my back. I don't know if McCarthy has my back. You think that's possible?
That's normal at the quarterback position to feel that way. Hey, look, I was livid when Andy Reid got fired. I was upset when Dan Reeves got fired. I was upset when Jim Moore got fired. And I felt like, man, we just needed a couple more seasons to get this right. It's normal for a quarterback to feel that way and say those type of things. But, is that the best thing for the team right now? That's not the quarterback's decision to make. So, but when Andy was fired, in 2013 and Chip Kelly was coming in, I felt like I was just kind of left out there. And what was next for me? Am I going to be accepted? Am I going to be in a quarterback battle? All these things run through your head. And it's realistic thoughts for a quarterback like Dak, who's a very competitive quarterback. So, yeah, of course, those feelings and those relationships, they're real. It's a real thing. And when they're severed, sometimes things come out. But it's up to Dak now because I've been through it. Now you have to start to develop that relationship with a new coach and get to know him. It's just going to take time like anything else in life that you want to perfect or be great at. You got to put the time into it. So that mess will come over time.
That's interesting. We were talking yesterday about Cam Newton, and we said it'd be one thing if he had an OTA in New England and a full preseason in New England and 45, 55 practices. He's got none of it. Yeah. So you tell me, how long did it take? Because I think Belichick's a great coach and Andy Reid's a great coach. How many practices did you need with Andy Reid before you got behind the center and you felt like, okay, I'm humming on this thing. I don't have to sit here and it's kind of becoming natural to me?
Damn good question, because when I think about all the questions that I've answered about Cam and, people saying he's going to start and he should be out in the field in the beginning of the year, Cam can't be put in a bad situation, and Bill Belichick won't do that. He can't go out there if he don't have, a true understanding of the offense, which takes time. And he hasn't had any OTAs, won't get any real preseason or training camp reps right now. And it's not going to be, the most effective for Cam. Yes, he can get out and he can throw as much as he can. I believe he's in shape. But, the knowledge is power at the quarterback position. And I think Cam will probably understand that. So we can't get the cart before the horse right here. It's impossible to go out there and play if you don't understand, exactly what, needs to happen, on every particular play. And Cam's going to need some time. He's going to need some reps. He's going to need a lot of drops. And that this time right here is not helping him. But he can take advantage of every rep. If he's not going into it, the season as a starter, he can take advantage of every rep, live vicariously through Stidham, learn from the background. And there's nothing wrong with that. It'll pay dividends in the long term.
By the way, you were a college football star, but when you came into the NFL, you got to sit for a year. Joe Burrow's not going to sit for a year. My gut feeling is Tua is going to be too good at practice. He's not going to get a year to sit. It is strange. You go from college football to pro football, different system, different scheme. Edge rushers are faster. When you went to the NFL and you didn't have to start first game, But when you went to practice for the first time, like, what did you notice? The biggest difference between college and pro football for you, and you were a world-class athlete. But what was how many practices before you started noticing the gap in talent, speed, and pass rushing?
It was after my first practice that I knew I was going to have to put an immense amount of work into getting caught up to speed. First and foremost with the offense and being able to just verbalize everything that needs to be said in the huddle, getting out of the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage was something that was just, so new. And the process had to be expedited because, when you're number 2 in practice and your reps are up, it's your rep. You got to step up. So I was like, man, I just need reps. I need reps. But Chris Chandler was there. And I sat behind him, so I just had to really be keen and watching him and studying everything that he did, his every move. Even though our games was totally different styles, I wanted what he had in the passing game. So I needed those reps, and I needed them now. But I didn't get them, and it hurt me as far as development. And that's why I wasn't ready until my second year. But, young guys who are thrown into the fire are going to learn faster because they're going to make mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah. He's in Fort Lauderdale. You can see all those beautiful, he's got trophies behind him. He's got all sorts of stuff.
Looking good over here.
Yeah, I can tell you're not golfing today. That's like a go out and that's a good looking shirt. That's a take your wife out to dinner shirt right there.
Absolutely. Even though I'm staying COVID free, maybe I'll order out tonight, bring something in. But I just wanted to walk around and look good and feel good today.
Yeah.
Show off the gun.
Little gun show there. Looking pretty good, Michael. Good seeing you, buddy.
Download the all-new Fox Sports app now.